Hey world, this is Jamie, host of the Jamie and Genty Show, broadcasting live each week on Tuesday at 12 p.m. from Fishbowl Studios. Log on to hear sports talk from basketball to football and view your feedback from the biggest sports news you want to talk about from around the world. So be sure to log on each week Tuesdays at 12 p.m. to catch the Jamie and Genty Show. Hope to see you soon.
Fishbowl Radio Network.
Jump in.
Welcome to the Beyond the Game podcast on Fishbowl Radio. My name is Jamie. It's Tuesday. What's today? September the 2nd, 2025. I hope everyone's doing doing well out there. Struggling out of the gate. But anyways, so before we get to this Micah Parsons ridiculousness, I really want to talk about what happened on the tennis. I really don't talk about tennis because I have no interest. And the only interest I have in tennis is when my favorite players play. You know, the Venus, the Serena. You can throw in Coco Gauff. You can throw in Naomi Osaka in there. Those really catch my interest. Now, this caught my interest the other day. The girl's name is Taylor Townsend. I looked her up. She's got I looked her Instagram up. She's got a, great image, great family, all that stuff. I never thought that racism will happen in 2025. Especially from her opponent. I can't even pronounce her opponent's name because it really doesn't matter who the opponent is. I honestly think that we're in a crisis. Every time a white person gets beat by a black, well, I can't say that, sorry. Every time a person gets beat, which Taylor did. Taylor beat Jelena. Jelena has some words about it. Or somebody of that caliber is not used to losing. So, with that being said, let's hear from Miss Taylor Townsend, please. She is my hero and the advocate for what we stand for in a game of tennis. So let's play that clip, please.
About the outcome that occurred. You lost, and you're upset about that. Saying I have no education and no class. I don't really take that personally because I know that it's so far from the truth. The thing that I'm the most proud of is that I let my racket talk. Because ultimately, I'm the one here sitting in front of you guys, moving on to the next round, getting the next check, moving on, being able to still be here and speak to you guys. And that's what's the most important. She's packed up and she's gone.
Okay, so you heard from Taylor Townsend. That is incredible. She ended up losing to her next opponent. But what an inspiration by Taylor. I'll be watching her career throughout. I wish her nothing but the best, but it will never change. It will never change. Everybody's, every person is expected to win something, and in this magnitude, you just got to accept the fact that you lost. You lost. It's fine. It's whatever, It's just, you take it and you leave it. We shouldn't be talking about racism in 2025. We should be not we. The other people should educate themselves of, okay, hey, what can I say at this moment? Or what can you not say in this moment to get my point across? In this case, Jelena didn't have to say anything. She could have just took her loss, and that was it. Now, let's get to some football stuff because I've been waiting for this. I was surprised like you guys out there. I was upset like you guys were out there. Well, some were happy in this room. I was very upset at this because I'm tired of being last. I'm tired of rebuilding. I suffered 3 years with the San Antonio Spurs of rebuilding around Victor. Everybody said it's okay, it's all right, give them time to grow. That's what they say before they burn out. I can't believe, out of all the nonsense that we talked about in the offseason, after paying our wide receiver and our quarterback, we had one job. Was to pay Micah Parsons. And then everybody talks about, oh, let's blame here, let's blame Micah, let's blame Jerry, let's blame the agents. You guys are crazy. I was very surprised. I sat here, I was sitting in the car when that happened. And I was like, there's no way the Cowboys went ahead and traded Micah Parsons. And they went ahead and did. To the Green Bay Packers for Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. Everybody wanted a 3 first-round picks. Everybody wanted the additional players. For what? For what? What else do you want? Micah wanted to be here, not be a sellout. He was never a sellout. He wanted to be here, Jerry. You're making fools laugh at us every day. Is something. You had an opportunity to fix that, and now you trade our best asset, the face of Dallas, to go to Green Bay. This is ridiculous, man. I can't believe that we live in this era that the effort is not good enough, that we allow people to do whatever they want. Just because Jerry owns a franchise doesn't mean he doesn't have to do everything he wants. He has to be held accountable somehow. You got to hold him accountable at some point. Somebody's got to stop him and say, hey, don't make this trade. Kind of like Luka. If Mark Cuban was running the team like he was supposed to, Dallas does not make that trade. You make Nico out there smart. They should be. Right now, Nico's sitting there, wherever he's sitting at, and say, get it off this. I got the monkey off my back now. I can go and make moves now. I can rest easily. You made Nico sleep well at night. And you made me suffer. And everybody else who are not Cowboys fans happy. You made those Cowboys fans that are happy about this trade satisfied because they didn't want to deal with it. And I understand that. But you're not Cowboys fans when you lose your best franchise player. You blame Dak, you blame CD, you blame George Pickens. Heck, you even blame the coach. Micah was the best thing you had going. He wanted to be here. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Jerry makes this a circus. Jerry wants you to go to Frisco and Arlington every week and say, hey, look at the circus that we have on this field and in the venues. We don't care about Micah Parsons. We don't care about winning a championship. Those championship days are over. I will never consider the Dallas Cowboys a playoff team anymore. I thought, every year we can be that team. I thought every year was Super Bowl or bust, and it's not anymore. I can't take him seriously anymore. I think Jerry's a joke. You allow him to do whatever he wants. Steven could have stopped him, or somebody else in that room could have stopped him and had control of this. They didn't. They allowed Jerry to say, hey, you're in or you're out. We got to make this move. And then they went on a 45-minute press conference talking about the trade, which I think is stupid because you didn't need a reaction from Jerry. You didn't need a reaction from the coach. You just could have done it quietly, and that was it. You knew Jerry was going to give you bullshit answers. You knew that. So why in the hell did you need to do a 45-minute press conference? I don't even know what Jerry was thinking. Now, this is what Jerry kept referring to Micah. This is when you know you have aged out. So this is you have really aged out. Instagram picked this up. And I thought it was a little bit funny. So let's hear Jerry calling Micah, Michael, please. Let's play that clip.
A lot of resources on a trade. When you have the kind of extraordinary pass rush that Michael had, more or less, that we don't have that excellence that Micah Parsons has there, but we do have the depth. The other thing that I would like to say is I firmly made a commitment to Michael this spring. Micah.
And you at any point talk one-on-one with Micah to try and figure this out?
Did I talk to Michael?
Micah.
No, you called him. You just said Michael four times. And it's like, why do you do all this, Jerry? This is when you know you're aged out. This is where your brain starts going in shambles. I'm very disappointed in the Dallas Cowboys, the team that I support, the team I get up for every single week, the team I say, you know what, this team can be good. This team can be elite, and they're not. We're in a rebuilding phase. We don't even know who's going to be our best pass rusher. Could be James Houston. Could be our draft picks. Who knows? Who knows? Could be our best pass rusher. But I just don't get it. But Michael, well, even me calling Michael, my brain goes into shambles. That was a Jerry syndrome. But I got more to say after this. But let's see what Micah brings to the table with the Green Bay Packers. Now, Green Bay, got their pass rusher. Obviously they've been struggling in that department for years. They re-signed their quarterback now. They got a running back. They got a running game. They got a wide receiver. As you can see in the last playoff game in 2023 that they were in, that was dominated by Green Bay. They still have the same guys on that roster. So now you have something to compete with Detroit and Minnesota in the NFC North. So what does Micah bring to the table? Micah brings you speed. Micah brings you the pressure every single night. He also brings you attraction because there's not enough attraction in Green Bay. The only attraction in Green Bay is the coach. And not even the coach being an attraction, they still held to Aaron Rodgers there. I guarantee you there's still Aaron Rodgers jerseys in Green Bay. There could be some Brent Favre jerseys there, but we don't support Brent Favre's nonsense. There's a lot of Aaron Rodgers jerseys there. And what a way to be a fan right now, because you got your baseball team winning 80-plus games right now, and they could be in the World Series soon enough, potentially. You're saying that City wants to win right now? Look at the baseball team. Look at the basketball team. Look at now the football team, the Green Bay Packers. Now Green Bay has something to build off of. They could win the NFC North. We can move on from Micah. We can move on from him. But it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort to not talk about his name in Dallas anymore. I know a lot of people are going to bring him up and say, hey, Micah could have done this. Micah could have done that. His agent could have said this. His agent could have said that. There's a lot of things. But yeah, we just get him back. We're not going to get Micah back. I will say that he's in a better place than he is right now. Kenny Clark, that's who we got from the trade. 29 years old. These guys, man, they always say aging defensive tackle player. Well, I don't want a defensive tackle that is going to be 23, 24 years old. That's not going to ball like he's supposed to ball out there. My defensive tackle Doesn't have to be 400 pounds. There's a kid in Tampa Bay right now. Well, actually, he got released last week by Tampa Bay. His name is, I almost call him Deshaun Watson. That's not his name. I can't remember. The big kid from Florida. That's his defensive tackle right there. The reason why he's not on the field is because of his weight. He's young, but his weight is like 464 pounds. Tim Bay tells him, go lose weight. Go lose 40 pounds. Go lose 40, 50 pounds, and then come back to us. So while he was doing that, Tim Bay goes ahead and said, hey, we need to finalize our roster. They tell the young man, hey, we're going to release you, along with Shiloh and others. Now, I say this because that's a young defensive tackle that would probably, well, I can't say probably. He may not see the field. Because you got defensive tackles that are playing under 330 pounds. We don't have the defensive tackles of today playing plus 330 and up. We don't have that anymore. And even that, guys are losing weight to make sure that they're durable, to make sure that they play the snaps, the snaps in the game than they should be. They don't have to call out every few seconds. And so I bring that up because Kenny Clark is very interesting. I don't know Kenny Clark personally. I don't know his game personally. But I would tell you that he's 29 years old. He's still young. I mean, the guy has, guy can attack the gaps. Obviously, I'm expecting him to play at least 50 to 60% of the snaps because I want him down the field instead of up the field. I don't want him playing pass coverage. I don't want that on my team. But Kenny Clark is not an aging player, according to some guys on the radio. He's not. This is. I would never criticize a person's age. If you can do it at 30-something years old, you can do it. Kenny Clark can play. He's still in the league. He's still interested in playing in the NFL. Guys like him are headed towards retirement or onto their next career. Kenny Clark didn't have to go in this trade. He wanted to come because he still wanted to play football. He wanted to play in Dallas. Well, he didn't want to play in Dallas, but he still wanted to play in the NFL for a team, for a franchise. He still wanted to do that. And so I'm not mad I'm very upset at this trade, but we could have gotten one more first round pick in the first round. That's what it's going to take to keep Micah away. And so with that being said, the ceiling is, Michael has always said the ceiling is the roof. We're not trying to rephrase Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, the ceiling is not the roof. The ceiling is down below. There is no room for this team to grow. I made a lot of people happy today. I made a lot of commanders happy today because they're saying that they're laughing at us. We paid our guy. It was easy. Okay? It was easy to pay Terry McLaurin. That's your best wide receiver on the team. Jaden doesn't become successful without him. He knows this. So, but it's more of a rebuild. I honestly, for me as a competitor, I don't want to rebuild. I want to make sure I make the playoffs every year. There's a lot of talk about what's to be expected on the Cowboys. I always read the headlines of, okay, we got to play with passion, we got to play with poise, we got to play like it's our last. We got to care a little bit, and I get it. I understand, but you got to bring that to the field every single day. If you're not going to rebuild, then let's make sure that we compete every single day, in practice or in the game. Stuff. Go game speed like that. So how do we move on? Okay, there's a kid out there, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of kids out there. Micah inspired a lot of kids. Now, this kid was crying online. Okay, coming out of school, these kids don't find out a lot of things. His mom told him about the trade. Kid got upset, and then Micah comes on FaceTime, gives him a bunch of Packers jerseys, all that stuff signed by him. Great story, right? Micah could have done it for every fan out there, including this one. Micah, I loved you. I hate the fact that Jerry did this to you. I hate the fact that Angelo did this to you. He didn't accept the fact that you outshined their linebacker core. Their linebacker core Washington is? They got 2 aging linebackers in Washington. You outshined both of those guys. The Giants don't have an answer. Even the Eagles don't have an answer for you. Michael, we love you. You can't. These guys don't. These fans never care. They're not even fans if they don't have a heart. They said, we're glad you're gone. But yeah, Micah, I'm not glad you're gone. I wish you were here. I wish you were a Dallas Cowboy. I wish that it never happened. I wish I wish Jerry could have approached you if he was serious enough to the table and said, hey, let's go for a deal. Let's do this. Let's do that. Jerry didn't do anything like that. If he cared, if the first day that you came out with that trade request on Instagram, somebody, his grandson or his son, somebody could have said, hey, he's on Instagram saying that he wants a trade. You don't trade your franchise player. You don't do that. The Mavericks did that. The Cowboys did that. If Jerry cared, Michael would still be a Cowboy right now. It's just that Jerry is old. Jerry has an old-ass mindset that says, I don't look at the Instagram, but Jerry, technology is here. People are using AI for everything now. It's not a coincidence, if I'm saying that word correctly. You don't have to prone to the times, Jerry. The 90s is over. The 2010s, it's over, bro. Like we're in 2025. Adjust to our times. Adjust to technology. When your star player comes on Instagram and says, hey, I want to trade, the first call you make is to your star player. Not to Dak. Not to this guy right here to my right. It's to Micah Parsons. And say, hey, let's bring your agent. Let's bring you to the table so that we can get this done. I know that, you told Jerry, don't call you, okay? But if I was Jerry, I'll call him all day long. I'll be like, hey, until he answers. And he's there in the building. Jerry could have walked up to him and said, hey, let's make a deal right now. You had every opportunity to do this for how many days that he was on Instagram? 20 days, 30 days, whatever the days it was. You had time to give him a contract. And the Packers stepped in and said, hey, we're going to give you 4 years, $188 million with $120 million guarantee. So basically, Micah won this thing. The Green Bay Packers won this trade. The Cowboys, unfortunately, is a rebuilding team. Now, not all hope is lost. You got DeRon Bland back for 4 years. I'm worried about George Pickens, though. I'm worried about him. But we'll see what happens. Now we get to Thursday's game. This is unfortunate. We got the Eagles Thursday night on NBC. Everybody, the world will be watching. I will not be watching because I will be at camp. But I will watch whatever I can there. So I'll be more than likely listen to the radio. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. The quarterback Prescott needs to play better. So my quarterback, he needs to shine on TV. If he's talking about, going to the NFC Championship game, you need to win game one first. Game one has to be winnable first. I don't want, listen, them getting their rings, them pushing the banner up top should give you ample motivation to win a championship in 2025. That's my mindset. I don't know about yours, but that's my mindset. That should give you ample motivation. They hold that trophy up. They're like, their owner holds that trophy up. Jerry, your mind should be disrespected. Because the Eagles earned that. The Eagles worked for that. The Eagles didn't cheat the system. The Eagles made their moves early, and they kept their moves up. And so every motivation Dak wants to go into, it will work. Who's the running back in this fit? Jaden Blue, Javonte Williams. Those two will be the bulk of the carries. George Pickens, I'm on you, man. The pressure's on you to produce, man. Hostile environment. You're in that town again. Well, actually, you didn't play for the Eagles. You're in that town again, so you should really know the field. The defense will be a challenge. We don't have the Micah there, but I want to see what this defense can do. I know Osa will keep the defense together because as I was reminded this morning that he's one of the captains of the team. So, with that being said, I want him held accountable, hold the defense accountable for their actions, and make sure that we keep the defense together. We keep the Eagles off the field on third down. The pass rush will be the key. Jalen Hurts, I don't want him to give him any time. No time possible. Anytime. Pressure the heck out of him. Make him uncomfortable. Make him actually have a quarterback spot. The Eagles, I think they're running 10 and 11 personnel. Jalen Hurts and Saquon is obviously the main targets on their team. The defending champs. And then you got their defense. Vic Fangio is a menace. You can't solve his defense. He will not allow you to go over the top. He will not allow you to beat you over the top. He will bring pressure from wherever the pressure is coming from the middle, from the outside, going back blitz. He will bring it all on Thursday night. And so, with that being said, we got to make sure that Dak is protected, but also we got to get the ball off on passing plays. I don't ever want us to be in a 2nd and 5 and throwing the football. I want us to really establish the run on the during the game. Get a feel for the run. On 2nd and 5, let's run the football. We got 2 good running backs on the field. Let's run the football down their necks. I don't want to continue to throw the football on this game. Let's throw when they're playing off coverage, please. That's what I want. So, I don't know who wins this game. I hate to give you an answer, but I do think the Cowboys will lose this game. I think the Eagles will come in and beat the brakes out of us. With no pass rush. But I do expect the Cowboys to compete. I don't want us to lay down for a little bit. I don't want anybody else to give us sympathy for this. I want the team to go in there and play together, but play smart. Now, we play a clip from Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons says goodbye to Dallas. Let's play that clip, please.
Is there anything you want to say to your Cowboy fans today that, here you are and this is your next chapter?
Yeah. To Cowboy Nation, really just thank you. Like, I don't think people realize, I'm a very simple man. It's all about principle with me, and it's all about, the love and authenticity. And, for me, just a kid I never left Pennsylvania pretty much until I got drafted. I was a Heritage Pennsylvania guy to Penn State. And the moment I got drafted, I had a second home, and they welcomed me. They opened their hearts out to me. They poured into me. That fan base is one-on-one. So thank you to the fan base. Thank you to all the players that I played with. I wish, things didn't have to be like this, but, I'm happy for this opportunity. I'm happy to be here, and, I'm ready to win some games.
It hurts. So thank you, Micah. Thank you for your 4 years of service. Thank you. I know we didn't win a championship, but thank you. And good luck in Green Bay, because I know there's nothing to do there, but good luck in Green Bay. Now, we get to college football now. College football started their first week of the season this past weekend. It was great, watching, watching some of the games, watching the highlights, watching the players play hard. We get to Colorado first. So number one, Colorado fumbles their opportunity. Colorado gets beat by Georgia Tech 27-20. Here's the thing. Hayes King has been everywhere. Hayes King even slept in the Georgia Tech locker room in training camp. The reason why he did that is because he's invested in Georgia Tech. He's invested in what Brent Key has brought to the offense. So, if you're invested in one program, why not sleep in the locker room? Why not sleep in their locker room? Why not get a feel of what Georgia Tech is all about? So, Hayes King went 13 for 20 for 143 yards and an interception. The biggest story was he rushed the ball for 19 times for 156 yards and 3 touchdowns. He just dominated. This kid will probably go to the NFL. He'll probably want to play quarterback, but he can't. He doesn't have the skills of a quarterback. People don't look at his speed as being accurate, as being a speedster. People don't prepare for that. Colorado was not ready for this game, guys. You saw in their faces. When you give up 320 yards on the ground, that's saying something. That was their base of their whole offense, Georgia Tech's offense. They ran the heck out of that ball. They were not. I think they were overhyped. They were not overprepared, because overprepared would be like, hey, it's stealing the mind, stealing this and that. That's overpreparement. Some players can take it, some players cannot. They were overhyping this game, guys. 3 turnovers, you only capitalized you only got 10 points out of those. Those are supposed to be 21 points. The game's supposed to be over in the first half, but it wasn't. They talked about, in the broadcast, ESPN broadcast, they talk about Caden Slater. Caden Slater's from this area. He's from Allen. I did not watch him in Allen. I heard of him. He went to Liberty. Allen, you play in front of your family and your friends. You know these guys. You're not playing in crowds at Allen or Liberty, for that matter. Liberty only has their enrollment is only 20,000 people. That's like an NBA arena at Liberty, or maybe less than that. So Liberty doesn't support their football team. They don't know who their quarterback was until they started winning the conference. When they made it to the bowl games, that's when their fans started getting invested because their fans had no idea what Liberty football was. They had no idea who Caden Slater was till he got to the bowl game against Oregon, and you saw the results. Now, when Caden goes to Colorado for possibly his final year, you have to add possibly to it because these college players don't want the real world in this round. They don't want to go out in the real world. That's why you see guys at 25, 26 years old, even a 30-year-old college football player. Yes, there's a 30-year-old college football player at Arkansas right now. I'm pretty sure there's one as old as me in college right now. They're not ready for the real world, guys. You're going to see it. This is going to happen every year. You're going to find one college player that's 28 years old or 29 or even older than that. But Caden Slater went 17 for 28 for 159 yards and a touchdown. He carried the ball 13 times for 43 yards and a touchdown. Now, okay, so Colorado was averaging 5 yards a run. Their running game was working. Their running game was literally working. But then they went away from it because their defense wasn't stopping their run. They wasn't stopping Georgia Tech's run. Georgia Tech, I told y'all that Georgia Tech had 320 yards of rushing. Oh, sorry, 320 rushing yards. That was their whole entire offense. That's their whole entire offense, guys. Running the football, run down your necks. You knew their quarterback was going to run. You knew that you needed to stop the run, but you didn't. They were overhyped in this game. And people are saying, we need to blame somebody. Pat Shermer is the easiest one because he's the offensive coordinator. I saw that online. I saw that Pat was getting the blame. This is a guy that's coached in the NFL. He knows what he's doing. That's easy. Those fuckers know nothing about the game of football. 20 points is 20 points. Pat Shermer has coached in the NFL for numerous franchises. Of course, Coach Prime is going to have his back. Caden, in the broadcast, has never played in front of 100,000 people. This is not Liberty. This is not Allen. This is Colorado that Dion built. They won one game in 2022. When he got there, he's won 10 times of that. And this is his third season. Dude, I think he's 500 as a coach. But it's not bad, though. The environment is, I think he was overshadowed by the environment. He never thought that 100,000 people will come to the game. Come watch an opponent like Georgia Tech. Who's Georgia Tech? Who does Georgia Tech represent? All we know in the state of Georgia is the Georgia Bulldogs because they have won championships. We know that part. We don't know Georgia Tech. Now Georgia Tech has put their stamp on the map in the ACC. Now you can't beat them. Now, actually, they're harder to beat now. So I have to criticize. I'm not criticizing Coach Prime. This is not his fault. I thought he got the players ready to play, held them accountable, held them responsible, did all the things right as a coach. But I gotta hold accountability where it should be, and accountability where it should be is the quarterback. Caden Slater was not ready for this game, guys. Remember, I told you, the broadcast said he wasn't ready for this environment. I'm not giving him a pass for that. I just feel like he wasn't accurate enough. Yeah, the guy has an arm, but you were averaging 5 yards a carry. Why can't you just run the football? You can run the football with your quarterback. You can run the football with your running back. This is why I hate this. I know that when you get the first down, I know you want to play up-tempo and throw the defense off guard. The NCAA is not going to let you do that anymore. They're going to allow the teams to substitute for blown air, and they got to call timeout. So basically, it extends the game by 10 minutes. And so, with that being said, Caden did not prepare himself to play in this game. Now you know the environment. Now you know what the program is expecting. The program wants to win a championship, but how can you win a championship under these circumstances? When you're playing like this, when you run away from the run. It was an interesting hire when Coach Prime did. Coach Prime hired Marshall Faulk to run the running back room. I think Marshall Faulk did his job. They're running. They ran 5 times. They ran. I mean, literally, they averaged 5 yards a carry. So, and 3 turnovers. You only had 10 points off those turnovers. It's supposed to be 21. Like, come on, man. I mean, you're going to, unless something miraculously happens, you're going to beat Delaware next week, another FCS school, and then we get to the meat and the grind of it, of the Big 12 play, or maybe you have one more non-conference play left. But listen, you got to take care of Georgia Tech first. Georgia Tech came in there, was all the hype. Friday night ESPN game, 100,000 people. They came in there and ran it down your necks. Wasn't disrespectful. Backed up. Well, actually, they backed up their disrespect, and they turned it into a win. And so now Coach Prime and Coach Shermer have to go back to the playbook and see what can we do to score more than 20 points. Coach Prime also got to talk to the defensive coordinator and say, hey, what actually is a collective group. You got to bring your defensive staff together and instill some discipline. If guys are loafy on the field, get them out. If guys are not reading the playbook right, get them out. If guys are not invested or entombed into the game, get them out of the game. It's all about what you represent. Those players represent Colorado. They didn't represent Colorado the right way on Friday night. And this is why the loss happened. Number 2, another loss that happened was Arch Manning's challenge. Arch Manning was starting college football for the first time as a full-time starter. This is Arch Manning's reigns to lose. Arch Manning could lose the starting spot. But, they can make sure that they lose this. They can make sure that Arch Manning does not get an opportunity. I'm not saying Arch Manning won't get hurt. I'm not saying that Arch Manning is going to be this good quarterback. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, and I'm not going to give him a pass either, Arch Manning does not deserve a pass from this. Steve Sarkisian will not get a pass from this. Arch Manning went 17 for 30 for 170 yards and touchdown and interception. Now, before we get into the negative, before we get into the unfortunate quotes from Steve Sarkisian, we need to be positive just a tad and play a clip from Michael Taft, please. Now, Michael Taft was speaking about his faith. I have no problem with his faith. I have no problem with the other person's faith. So I wanted to play that clip before I get angry. So let's play that clip, please.
Yeah, I mean, we always remind each other before the game that you're free. God already won the battle on the cross. So everything that we do has no impact. And the plan on this earth has already been finished. So this is not our eternal life. It's a temporary life. And I told him, I said, hey, dude, you're free. And we always remind ourselves. So after the game we lost, he's still free. He still has the ability to do whatever he wants in life because God came down and sent his only son to die on the cross. So that's what I reminded him. He'll be good.
Disrespectful here. Michael Taft. How can I say this without pissing off people? Michael Taft. This is a game of football, right? You signed up to play 60 minutes. You signed up to play against Ohio State. You knew going into that game, the pressure was on you. It was on Texas, sorry. It was on Texas to perform. So, you come out there and lose like that. You come out there and score 7 points. The hype started last season. Everybody wanted Arch to start every game. They saw Manning. Okay, he's going to be like Peyton Manning. Okay, he's going to be like Eli Manning. Every Texas fan looked every highlight of Peyton and Eli. They compared the two. They said, hey, we could be like Peyton or Eli. Arch was just Arch. Arch has an arm, but Arch wasn't that great. Now, Arch will learn from this, as every young player should, but he will not get it past today. Arch was awful. Arch was dang right awful. He sucked. It's not his fault. It's Steve Sarkisian's fault. You know, I said this last year. How come nobody listens to me? I tend to be semi-right. I remember when they put him in the game against two cupcake teams in Mississippi State and some other team. I knew where Arch Manning's skill set is. Was at the time. And it's still there. Arch Manning has not improved. Arch Manning has not gotten to the top. And so it'll take time for him to get there. But he's not no number one pick. He's not no Heisman Trophy winner. This was the game to become it. And he lost that, or he fumbled that opportunity. I'll take the losses against Georgia, fine, whatever. But this one here, this one you don't lose to. This one, every opportunity was there. And so my blame was the coach. Now, Steve has been very passive. Everybody respects him as a coach and all stuff, and that's great. But, Steve, you need to stop. Here's why you need to stop. Let's play that clip of Steve Sarkisian, please.
This is the first game of a season, of a long season. And I sat at SEC Media Days and said, I think the days of a national champion being undefeated are over, especially when you play in games like this and you play in the conference we play in. So we've got an opportunity here over the next month to really clean some things up and to get ourselves in a great frame of mind to get ready for SEC play.
So, Steve, you just lost to Ohio State. They put you on the first team. Everybody said Texas will win. You lost. So I'm being passive. This is the SEC versus the Big Ten. They're the defending champs. They're going to beat you. Be angry. 7 points. You can't score 7 points on a national stage. And you say, oh, yeah, it's fine. It's 1-0. You're trying to win a championship. They took the championship away from you. Passive bullshit. Why can't you accept the fact that your offense sucks? Why can't you accept the fact that it's still discipline on your offensive staff? This guy, Steve, please. You're a good coach. I expect more from you. This was Texas' season to lose. You had every opportunity to put your name on the record book. The championship doesn't matter to Steve because Steve can be like, oh, I can have a job tomorrow and I'll be good. I'll be fine, whatever. I can beat San Jose State, whatever. I can beat them to next week, whatever, fine. Everything will be good. Everybody will be fine. We'll beat them 38-0, fine, whatever. We're good. But Steve, it's not the story. You had Ohio State. You held them to 203 yards. The defense did its job. We're not trying to deflect the defense. Defense did an incredible job. You hold the team to 14 points on the road. Hey, you should win the game. But the offense only scored 7 points. Dude, like, come on now, man. Like you got to help the defense out there. You got to help the defense out there. You cannot play like this. You cannot call like this. I mean, the days of the national championship undefeated is over. Well, Steve, I disagree with your quote because there's going to be a team undefeated this year. That's going to be probably number one. And, I don't know who that team's going to be, but I disagree with your notion. I think it takes consistency. I know the season's a grind. I get it. I'm trying to not be respectful to the players and the coaches. I know the season's a grind. I get it. But you can't say quotes like that. It's okay to be upset. Coach Prime was upset. Coach Prime did it to where he was upset, but he didn't want to take it out on the media at the same time. So it's okay to show frustration. In the early days, coaches showed a lot of frustration. Some do it today, some don't. It doesn't. And those coaches, it doesn't matter to them anymore. Steve, I'm questioning whether it matters. Does coaching the Texas Longhorns matter to Steve Sarkisian anymore? Does that matter? You're still going to have a job. You're still going to wake up with a job. But does that matter to you? Can you bring Texas back to success? Can Arch Manning be the quarterback that he's supposed to be? That's the question. We won't have the answer till week 3. I'm not worried about San Jose. Listen, beat your cupcake teams, whatever. Beat your cupcake teams, move on, all out. Get ready for SEC play, whatever the case may be. Number 3, we get ready for North Texas. So North Texas, speaking of cupcake teams, North Texas beat Lamar 51-0. Okay, so North Texas had a new defensive coordinator, Skylar Cassidy. Skylar Cassidy came from Sam Houston State. His resume speaks for itself. 0 points to an FCS team. I mean, come on. Yeah, sure, whatever. Call yourself the best. But I think Lamar was awful that game. By the way, this team, North Texas, has a quarterback. They have a running back. They have wide receivers for days, especially Wyatt Young, Cameron Dorner. Those guys can't miss. The running back room cannot miss. The quarterback room cannot. Well, actually, the quarterback. I just hope Jude Mustelmaker stays healthy for the rest of the season. I was not happy with Reese Poffenberger. I was not happy with him in the second half. He came in. He started throwing darts. He fumbled the ball. He was awful. He was awful that game. The question is North Texas good enough to win the AAC, the American Athletic Conference? Because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to run into a team that we're going to look at. Honestly, I don't know who that team is. You might easily say UTSA, but, you got to wait until the conference play to see who merges. I think North Texas has their hands cut out, has their hands worked out for them. I do think this is a good defense. A defense that can rank in the top 20. The way I see it. I know Lamar's FBS, whatever their case may be. I know you got to beat the cupcake teams, but at the same time, you don't give them air. You don't give them room to breathe. That's what Eric Morris did that. Listen, I'm not in the notion of giving that score up. Whether my team's upset as me and Angelo do. You see, here's the thing. You got to have a competitive edge when you're that when you get beaten up like that. I don't care if it's Ohio State or Texas. Dude, I'm hurt. I'm hurt for days. Until Tuesday, I can move on. I can move on and get ready for the next opponent because, listen, I'll take out my anger. These guys are like, we're down by 51-0. We're going to go on the bus ride. We're going to have a pity party. No, not my world, dude. This is why I can coach in this generation, but you're not gonna laugh and have a pity party when you're down by when you got beaten by 51 points. Now, North Texas. I'm not celebrating yet. I'm not going to say, hey, bring the trophy, bring me my trophy now. Bring me my shirt, my hat now. I'm not doing that yet. Let me get to the meat of the non-conference schedule. And let me get to conference play and see where we go. Dude, we have the resources to win. To win the conference. We're better than UTSA. But yet every year, when we face them, they outman us. We're a little brother to UTSA. We're their little bitches. We can't be their little bitches. We can't be their little brother. We got to beat them. We got to go in there with the same mindset as we did against this FBS cupcake crap team. Obviously, you got to play within your schedule. At the same time, North Texas look good. My overall value of Drew Musselmaker is that Drew Musselmaker can play quarterback in the NFL right now. Coming from all the backup roles in the world, I will say that Drew needs a lot of work, but he can play. He can play in the NFL, but yeah, it's like when you're running the football, just make sure that you go down, please, because we don't want an injury. I don't trust Reese Poffenberger. I really don't. He came into the game in the second half. He did not care. He did not care. And so the message of Ethan Wozniacki, don't suck. Number 4, this is awful, man. Alabama loses to Florida State. It's funny because Kellen DeBoer, it's funny the way he prepared for this game because a reporter brought up one of his quotes during the press conference. And it's fun, and I don't like when coaches do this, man. I hate when the coaches do this. So there's 2 clips of Kellen DeBoer. Let's play the first one. Well, actually, no. No. Let's play the first one that he was confused about what he said. So I know it's a day ahead of the first clip. So let's play the clip he was confused about what he said about the preparation of Florida State.
Week before the game, just how much do you self-scout the preparation before games, and are there times as a coach where maybe you notice during the week that things might not be going the way that you want them to?
You said, what do you mean, great week?
A great week. You said a great week of preparation.
For this week, you're saying? Or referring to last
going
week?
up to Florida State before that game.
I said that?
You said that, yeah, before.
Oh, just
yeah.
Okay, all right.
So, okay. Kelly, you don't remember what you said? I don't like it when coaches do that. I don't like when coaches, I don't like when a reporter asks us a question about a play, about a controversial play, and a coach comes up there and says, I never seen that before. I'm like, what do you watch? What do you watch? You're standing there on the sideline. What do you... Man, that makes me mad. You're lying. You're lying to us. You are lying to us. You saw what you saw. You got outplayed. You got manhandled by a team that won 2 games last year. 2, dude. They beat weaker opponents. They lost to everybody in their conference. I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, they lost to everybody in their conference. Yes. Yeah, that's right. That last year. And then you let this little-ass quarterback, 5'11", Boston College, who, by the way, we weren't showing their games last year, beat y'all. Run the football in the rain. Alabama's like, oh, we're going to go with Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson looked good. His stats look good, but the offense only scored 17 points. Listen, I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do. You paint your nails. I don't care what you do. It has nothing to do with this game. It's off the season, off the field thing. However, I will say that we need more men in the game. Okay? Let's play another clip from Kellen DeBoer, please. This is all about manhood. Well, actually, this next clip is about his preparation to Florida State. Now, see the difference? I want to talk about manhood after this clip. So let's play that clip, please.
I choose to believe we got a good football team, but we can't play on our heels. That falls on everyone. I don't just point the finger at the players, but we gotta, we talk in the locker room. There's no excuse about what happened. We step on the football field. They step on the football field, and we got to play ball. We got to play our style of ball. Last year isn't this year, and it's going to be an uphill climb for us. But you can't think of it in the big scope of things. You got to focus on the moment, and the next moment is what happens tomorrow.
This is the point. Let's speak about manhood first. Kellen DeBoer, you don't have a good football team whatsoever. Nick Saban does not lose the first game, okay? Paul Finemuller was trying to convince Nick Saban to go back to Alabama and correct us. That's how much Alabama misses Nick Saban. When a legend a legend analyst tells a legendary coach, hey, go back to Alabama and coach this football team. This football team's soft. Everybody hates the S word. Soft. Everybody hates that word. That's how Alabama played on Saturday. Soft. So, Kellen did not take this seriously. This is all about manhood. Kellen has to take the accountability for his actions. You cannot coach like this. Coaching instills discipline. Coaching also says, hey, we don't lose to teams like this. A team that won 2 games last year. A team ran it down your throat last year. Let's play Cam Newton, please.
Stop hiring coaches that does not understand the value, the marketability, the expectations of what it's like to play and coach in the SEC. I'm actually happy that that other school is actually losing. If you ask me, I hope they keep Coach DeBoer because we have chances now, in Auburn. Now, this is the thing that you must understand from all SEC schools. You have kids that have grown up that only knows SEC championship, SEC championship, national championship. So now as adults, we have pull. Now we get to say, we don't want you because you don't understand this.
Okay, Gam's absolutely right. I agree with him 110%. Yeah, Kellen does not know the system. Kellen does not know how to be a man. There's a couple of players on the Alabama roster. I can't remember the other player's name, but I know one of those Ryan Williams. I heard what Jason Whitlock said last night. I was watching one of his videos. I'm not a fan of it, but when I saw Gay on there, I had to click on it. I had to watch it. I support all our guys. I don't think they're the sexual orient. I don't think that they're in that sexual orient. I can't. They're not in the LGBTQ plus community. I don't think they are. But whatever it is, listen, I support you 110%. I think that Ryan Williams painting his nails has nothing to do with this game whatsoever. I think it's a personal issue off the field. And I think it's a brand that I think is one of his NIL deals. But also, I will say this as a man. As a man, we carry the load. That means we take care of our responsibilities. We take care of what's going on the football field. In this case, on the football field, we got to make sure that we pay attention to detail. We got to make sure that Florida State does not get a first down on us. We got to make sure that little ass quarterback is on his back 90% of the time. We got to make sure that our coach is in tune in the game, because it seems like he was out of it. It seems like He wanted to do more in the ESPN interviews than coaching the Alabama game. Oh, you see what I did there? I like that. I saw what I did there. So that being a man is attention to detail. That's what it is. You got to pay attention to what's happening to surroundings. We carry the load. Don't let anybody else carry it for you. That's what Florida did. Now, their other player was like, oh, we're not going to have another loss in our schedule. Okay, here. Outside of Louisiana Monroe, let's give them a little respect. Okay, you're going to beat them next week. Okay, Wisconsin. Okay, well, maybe that's a win. Okay, bye week. Georgia, SEC play. Okay, tough matchup in Georgia. Okay, Vanderbilt, not an easy matchup. Missouri, okay, so-and-so. Tennessee, not an easy matchup. But then again, you're at home. South Carolina, not an easy matchup. LSU, actually, before LSU, they got another bye week. LSU, not an easy one. Oklahoma, not an easy one. Illinois, okay, yeah, play your cupcake teams. Auburn, we'll see what happens during the season. So right there, I'm anticipating at least four more losses. This one was crucial. I'm anticipating 4 more losses. So I'm assuming if he wins 7 games, then that means Nick Saban, get your ass in the building. But Nick Saban does not want to coach y'all anymore because this generation has changed. So, Florida State, I already mentioned what they did on the field. Shout out to Courtney Goodman. Now, we play a clip from Brian McFadden. Here is the quote of the day. So let's play Brian McFadden, please, before we get to the next topic.
So I said last night, rematch, where you at? Rematch. Let's play rematch.
I told y'all last night. I didn't say if we win. I said, right? I said, no doubt. And y'all look me all in my eyes with the same belief. I said, when we win, they're going to praise y'all. They're going to talk good about y'all. And what I said about praise. For y'all who wasn't with us yesterday, I said praise is like perfume. It's poison. You can sniff it, but don't drink it. Don't you drink that praise. Because as quick as they can talk good about you, they're going to hate you just the fastest. So now celebrate. Get back to the basics next week. And let them know tomorrow. And let them know. Y'all ain't drinking the praise. Ain't drinking the praise.
So, yeah, don't drink the praise. I understand that quote 110%. All right, so we get to a little bit of sad news. Ethan Pritchard, the freshman from Florida State, was shot. I think in somewhere in Florida. I think Mike Norvell told his players, go celebrate. I don't know what happened. There's very few details in this case, but when I saw the story of Florida State player shot, it only said he was shot. It was in the city where he was shot at. He was shot in the car, and he's in critical condition right now. Only a freshman, 18 years old, obviously. Well, 19 or something like that. Tough. He's not as of right now. I haven't heard anything yet. But I will say this. I would say this. I would say that I don't know. I really can't speculate. But I will say that it's tough when you go home for the weekend and you get into it with somebody. Maybe the surroundings are not good. You're trying to get out of there. You're trying not to beef it up with anybody. And then this happens. And when that happens, you can't run. It's tough. It's tough to run away from it. And so you could easily say, oh, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But he's going home. Maybe he has family or whatever that 18 years old, you're not ready to live. 18, 19 years old, you're not really ready to live on campus. You're not ready to embrace the campus life like other freshmen and sophomores and juniors do. So you're not ready for that. You go home to see what's going on. I don't know. Hopefully we get more information from this case, but I'm praying for his family and his friends, and I'm praying for Ethan, the athlete. Hopefully he makes it through. I don't know the young man. I hope that, we don't even know this. We don't even know the area. Like that city can be a perfect area, and the fight may have happened, and these day and age is like these young kids, the only thing they resort to is a weapon. It's like, it's crazy. And it has nothing to do with any party. Let's put that out there. It has nothing to do with any party whatsoever. I think their community, I don't know their community. I'm just making my opinion. I think I think every community is what it is. It is what it is. They're trying to do their best to clean up their community. So, unfortunately, these things happen. I'm praying for him that he gets out of it, gets back to playing football as soon as possible. So, we don't have an update yet, but hopefully that the update's in a positive spirit. Now, TCU last night. This is our last point. TCU beat the brakes of North Carolina 48-14. Josh Hoover, 27 for 36 for 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Kavion Barnes, the transfer, 11 carries for 113 yards and a touchdown. He had a big 75-yard run to start the third quarter. That literally solidified the game. Jordan Dreyer, you need to put his name on the board, right up, by the way. 9 receptions for 136 yards and a touchdown. DJ Rogers, 5 receptions for 43 yards and a touchdown. Buddy Clark, the veteran, 25. He returned an interception for a touchdown for 25 yards. Now, before this game, the Horned Frogs were disrespected. ESPN showed this game for North Carolina because of Bill Belichick and all that crap and all the stuff that he brings. He brings in 7 Super Bowl rings. He brings in Michael Jordan, Lawrence Taylor to watch the game. All the celebrities come in and watch North Carolina lay an egg. That's what they did. They started to leave the third quarter after Kavion, after the 41st score. They left. They left in drones. And so TCU is back on the map for this game. Now, TCU has enough to win the Big 12. They have enough. It's going to be tough, but they have enough to win the Big 12. The schedule gets awkward, but let's hear the celebration for TCU, please. A celebration. I love that celebration. All the hype that Bill Belichick wanted. You were down 34 points at your home, Bill. Unfortunate. That girl, wow. Okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. But TCU, awkward enough, don't play a game till September the 13th. So, kind of weird that the schedule, it is what it is. So, TCU after this game has, 4 straight weeks. Well, actually, they have 7 straight games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games after this week. Bye that they go off of. So they play a game every week for the time being. So they play Abilene Christian on September 13th. So a little bit of awkward schedule, but coming off that momentum in North Carolina last night, I'm pretty sure it's well needed. But don't let you fall off the gas because this team can win the Big 12. The experienced court, they got a veteran-led group. I'm looking at Colorado. I haven't even looked at Case. Well, I looked at K-State, but K-State tends to be the dark horse of the Big 12. So we'll see where that goes. But North Carolina, there's too much hype for Bill Belichick. North Carolina lost because they got scorched. They got scorched early. Belichick's son's defense wasn't working. They got beaten. It's time to go back to the board, Bill. Gio Lopez was not great this game. Max Johnson, shout out to him. He came out and balled. He came out in the second half, and he gave them a little bit of a spark. But if I'm Bill Belichick, I look at Max Johnson starting next week, or if there is a next week. I look at Max Johnson to see if there is something there. If there's something there. Because, Bill has a tendency of staying with quarterbacks. That's why he stayed with Tom Brady all these years. And honestly, if it wasn't for Drew Bressel's macros injury, which I read a story about last week, if it wasn't for that injury, Tom Brady would have never been Tom Brady. And so, with that being said, I think that they'll be fine. It's the first week of the season, but it's concerning North Carolina because North Carolina is expected to win a championship. ACC is going to get tougher from here. So, before we go to break, the upset of the weekend was Tarleton State beating Army 30-27. I bring that up because in week 2, there could be an upset. I don't know where the upset is going to be, but there could be an upset. Everybody's got to take care of business from the start of the game to the finish. I know some teams were out of it. Alabama was supposed to beat Florida State, but Florida State who would have known Florida State beats Alabama. 2-win team from last year beats a team was full on confidence. North Texas scoring, holding a team to a shot. I know it wasn't a perfect team. That was a perfect team. Then come to me. Texas. Steve Sarkisian, I want that same quote from you from next week. Give me that same quote next week. Okay? So, be careful. Twist your toes. Be careful. Start to finish. Go from there. Now, coming up next, let's talk about the WNBA. We got 4 teams that are fighting for 3 spots. So, we'll talk about that coming up next. It's Beyond the Game on Fishbowl Radio.
Hey. Explaining.
ahead of you. And when
All right, welcome back to the Beyond the Game podcast on Fishbowl Radio. My name is Jamie again. So, the dream, let's talk about some WNBA stuff. Now, this is all playoff stuff. We're heading towards the end of the regular season. The Dream and the Mercury have clinched their playoff spots. How can they win the chip? Now, the Dream are 26-14. They clinched a playoff spot. Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray, who you know, that's your main core of your team. That those players are hard to defend, especially Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard gives you 20+ points. Alicia Gray has improved her game. They both mix it up a little bit, so they're going to be tough to stop. Those are players to watch for: Bree Jones, as they call it, Nas Hillman, who's been on tier for the month. You got to watch out for Nas Hillman. I think Nas Hillman will be a player that might be on the expansion team in the future. And I hate to say that because I feel like Nas can be a good player that can start on anybody's team and can average 20+ points and 10+ rebounds a game, which is why she's in the starting lineup for the Atlanta Dream. Teehee Papa's the rookie, up and down a little bit. Brittany Griner had to adjust to the bench because, they wanted more. They wanted more quickness. I'm not saying Brittany Griner's quick. Brittany Griner has lost a step ever since that. I told you, everybody. I hate to bring this up again, but ever since that prison visit, she has not looked herself. So, it's been really tough on her. And then Jordan Canada is the point guard. The ceiling for that team is that this team can play any style. They don't score a lot of points, but they'll defend your butts off. I think their weakness is, again, they don't score a lot of points. If you're asking them to score 80+ points, they can give you that on selective nights. But it's good. The difference between the previous years and this year is that everybody has a role to play. You're not putting in one ball's hands and allowing, hey, Ryan Howard, go give us 20 points. Alicia Gray, go give us something downhill. It's more Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray and others stepping up to play. You see, you never saw the ball go inside to Bree Jones last year. Now, if Atlanta had Bree Jones last year, it'll be a little different. But going inside, throwing the ball inside to Bree Jones and Brittany Griner has helped the Dream. This is why the Dream will go further. The Dream will probably go further than most people expect them to because of their defense. They're willing to defend everyone. Phoenix Mercury. Nobody, again, these analysts do not talk about them because they're not attractive enough. The Phoenix Mercury are. Atlanta Dream are. The Phoenix Mercury are 25-14. Obviously, that comes to the playoffs. Satu Sablis averaging 16 points a game and 6 rebounds. Elizabeth Thomas, the MVP candidate, is averaging 15 points a game, 15.8 points a game, 8.9 rebounds, and 9.2 assists per game. Notable players to discuss: Kalia Copper, Dewana Bonner, Samuel Whitcomb, and Monique Olakami. Do they have enough to win the chip? That's another team that could win a playoff series. They can win a playoff series if they have the pieces together. If they have the pieces together, they're easily winning the playoff series. They got to put 2 and 2 together to get this going. Nate Tibbetts, everybody, they have their front runner as Natalie Nasaka at Beckham and running up and down. Everybody has Natalie Nasaka as the coach of the year. I have it too on my resume. I have that too, but let's not forget Nate Tibbetts and Carl Samoko. Let's not forget these two guys. These two guys are coaching a culture that is completely different from what they're seeing. You see, Carl Samoka came from Florida. You didn't know that he'll coach Atlanta to this great success. Nate Tibbetts was on the chopping block last year because I thought his offense didn't make any sense. I thought, Tarasi spent too much time in the corner instead of going down here. Hey, they got Alyssa Thomas. Once Alyssa Thomas came to the team, everything changes. Once Samuel Wilkes came to the team, the second unit changed. Once Brittany Griner was off the team, things started to get a little bit better. Satu Sabli came on the team. Satu Sabli came into the team. So I think Nate Tibbetts is still the challenge. He challenged himself, but also he challenged the players to play at their best of ability every single night. So don't make it a 1 and 2 woman race. Let's add a couple men. Are respectable coaches that add a little bit of flavor in there, which is Nate Tibbetts and Carson Melko that added in there. Okay, so then we get to the negative part of fire potentially coaches. So number 2, the WNBA coaches. Chris Kostanis, the Dallas Wings coach, he's on the chopping block. Rashid Mazin, he's on the chopping block. This is interesting enough. Nicole Quinn on the chopping block as well. You're telling me that this team started off well, started in the 4th place spot before the All-Star break, has now fighting for a playoff spot. Big victory in Minnesota last week. Another victory against a awkwardness Chicago team. Nicole Quinn has 95 career wins in Seattle. I'm pretty sure a lot of fans want to keep her there, but it's a hit or miss. You got rid of Alicia Clark, who was a veteran of the team. You set her in for Brittany Sykes. Okay, you kept Gabby, you kept Nneka, you kept Ezzy, you drafted Dominique Mononga, who's going to have a career for the ages. You got rid of Drew Lloyd. You got rid of Lee Uru. This team shouldn't be fighting for the playoff spot. It should already clinch right now. And you haven't clinched. It's time for a change. I'm not saying Nicole Quinn's a bad coach. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Nicole Quinn could do better. I know she's a defensive coach that has a lot of pedigree, but I do think that they shouldn't be fighting for a playoff spot right now. Again, we'll see. Is it enough to – and the only way this happens, and the only way she keeps her job, she's got to get lucky. I think if making the playoffs and making the playoffs, fine. Teams have fired their coaches while making the playoffs. Making the playoffs. Just ask the Mercury. Well, no, you can't ask the Mercury. Sorry. Just ask the Atlanta Dream. They wanted more. they got more. You see, the Storm, they're seeing Atlanta. They're seeing these two teams come together. And they're like, okay, they're expansion teams. They're seeing the Golden State Valkyries come out of nowhere and have 21 wins. Damn. And so this team should be better than it is, but it's not. And it won't be long that Nicole Quinn gets that pink slip. If they don't make the playoffs. But if they do make the playoffs and out the first round, yeah, that pink slip's going to get a little louder. And then Tyler Marsh and Lynn Roberts, I think they're both safe. I think Tyler Marsh, the team has only 9 wins. Angel Reese is going to be Angel Reese at the end of the day. I think Tyler Marsh is in the right situation. They talked goodness about him last week. I saw the quote from last week of Kia Nurse making that quote. I do think they'll keep him around. I'll be surprised if they fire him, but I do think they'll keep him for another year. Lynn Ramos they'll keep. Lynn Ramos has put the Sparks in position to make the playoffs. I think it's a 10-win improvement from last year. So if they make the playoffs, it's a plus. But if they don't, then you know where this franchise is going to go. It can only go up. Kelsey Plum, Rakia Jackson, Cam Brink, Azra Stevens, Derek Hamby, who is the best basketball player on that team. Like hands down, the best basketball IQ ever. Like she just knows basketball. And it'll be sad if they don't make the playoffs, but the future is bright in LA. I'll say that. Number 3, the Dallas Wings. The Dallas Wings have lost 7 straight. Actually, they lost 8 straight because they lost last night to the Lynx. Paige Beckers has 17 points. That's all you need to know. Hey, it was an awful season this season. Players started getting hurt. I think we have 8 players on IR right now. They said Enrique's going to come back, but we only got 3 games left, so I'm not sure why Enrique wants to come back. I know for a duration of her game, how her work ethic is. I mean, if she comes back, that's fine. It will show the ultimate respect for me for everyone on that franchise, because we know what Enrique means to the game of basketball. So, they were going to forfeit 1 game last week, but they're playing with 8 or 9 players right now. It's not looking good because, you got playoff teams coming up, the last 3 games of the season. So this team could lose the next 3 games, and you're going to go to the offseason with an 11-game losing streak. So it's time. That's why I said it's time for the pink slip for Chris Kosanis. We need a better name than this. We need a better system. Okay, so number 4, the race for 4 final spots. The Golden State Valkyries, they got 4 games left. They got 5 games left. Sorry. This team has to continue to fight. They have 21 wins. They have 5 games left. The Indiana Fever, 21-19. Could they miss the playoffs after winning the Commissioner Cup? They got the Storm. Okay, so the Storm have only 2 games left. They're resting till Friday. The coach is in the hot seat. The Sparks have 5. They have what? They have 5 games left. The biggest win was last night against the Storm. So the Sparks can make the playoffs. They're at 19-23. Oh wait, that's right. No. Sorry. They're at 19 wins. At their record down. I'm sorry, but nonetheless, one of these teams are going to clinch a playoff spot in a timely fashion. Maybe the Indiana Fever. Someone brought up something this morning saying, "How can the Fever make the playoffs?" It's easy. Just win. Just win. I think the Fever have the more leverage than the Storm. So if they have a tiebreaker, the Fever will make the playoffs. But the Fever have to win. They got to take care of the business on their own. The Golden State Valkyries, I think they're locked to make the playoffs. I think they're locked to make the 6th seed, in my opinion. The Storm and the Sparks, this can go either one or two ways. I mean, you're fighting for 2 spots. I don't want to see the NF Fever in the playoffs. But if they're there, then that's fine. I don't expect them to make any noise whatsoever. So, in that case, I think I will say, I don't know. It's going to be really tough. I know Golden State's a lock. But then again, it's like the Sparks, they got a tougher schedule. They got to go to the Spark. They got to go to Atlanta twice. And so, that started tomorrow night and Friday. So, this can change one or two ways, and next week we can see if the Sparks are in position to make the playoffs. By this time next week, they'll play the Mercury and the Aces, so we'll see where they're at because they need these wins. I mean, this week's going to be tough for them because they got to go to the Dream twice. They got to play, and we'll see how many players the Dream play. Again. These coaches don't want to overuse their starters. You're going to see their starters play less than 30 minutes, less than 25 minutes. So basically, you're going to see a player on a hardship contract play to get meaningful minutes for them. So these coaches are smart. They're saving their players up for injury. So we'll see where that goes. But the biggest game, this is my last point of the day. Number 5. The biggest game Thursday night on Prime Video. After you watch the Cowboys game, well, actually during the Cowboys game, is the Lynx and the Aces. Ever since the Aces got beat by 53 points, they have won 12 straight. This could be the preview of the Western Conference Finals. Or in this case, it could be the WNBA Finals for that matter. Both teams know each other. Both teams are good in different aspects. Got the Lynx, who have 32 wins, franchise record. You got the Aces, who have won 12 straight. A lot to make noise in the playoffs. The only difference is the rest versus rust. I know it's a big game on Prime, but do you risk it out there and go out there and play versus, hey, we got the playoffs coming up in the next week or so. We want our girls to be ready for the playoffs to make this deep run. Now, in the mind of Cheryl Reeves and Becky Hammond, this is the last game of 30-plus minutes for Nafisa Collar and Asia Wilson and other players that are meaningful to your team. I say this because you need your star players in the postseason. You need Asia Wilson in the postseason. You need Nafisa in the postseason. You need a Kayla McBride in the postseason. That's why she rested last night, to get ready for this game. Because both coaches are thinking, hey, give us your best effort tonight, and then the next game, you could get under 25 minutes. Again, these coaches that are in the playoff position right now. They're not playing past 25 minutes, playing their players 25-plus minutes, because it will ruin their duration. Meaning that if Asia, like for example, Nafisa Collar came off an ankle injury. Okay, maybe that ankle's still tender a little bit. Nafisa has to go to the ice box after the game to ice that ankle to make sure that she's ready for the postseason. Asia Wilson had a wrist injury early in the regular season. Asia Wilson does not want to play. Well, actually, Becky Hammond does not want to play Asia Wilson 25-plus minutes. In a meaningful game, no. At this time, hell no. In the playoff game, yes. But you want to rest that wrist. So players are trying to make sure that they're upright, but they want to avoid distraction at the same time. This is Natalie Nasaka, avoid distraction. Play that clip, and then we'll close it out.
But for you, you're also a front runner for Coach of the Year. I wonder if you had any thoughts?
No, no one really cares, honestly. I mean, I'm just being dead honest. Like, our goal is to make the playoffs. That's our goal. But when actually, to think about it, it should be coaching staff of the year. Like, I'm not doing the scouting on my own. I'm not doing the player development on my own. You know, I'm not doing the film work where they have to individually do it with their players. I'm not doing this on my own. So it shouldn't be coach of the year. It should be coaching staff of the year. And, you know, if that ends up, again, it doesn't really matter, but like, it's credit to my staff. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Before we talk about understand what you're saying, but you can share that, but your staff gets a raise when you win the Coach of the Year award. So that's, I think, money is better than a trophy. You would get the biggest raise. Your staff will get the biggest raise as well. I mean, that's an elite staff. But listen, that's for another day. I wanted to play that clip because I want to avoid distraction. It'll be all playoff clips moving forward. Now, this is going to be an interesting week for the WNBA. We're going to come back next week. We're going to recap, you know, who clinched the playoff spot, who's ready for the playoffs. And maybe we can talk about the Dallas Wings, their last game of the season, because at that time, they'll have their last game of the season. You know, we'll talk about individual awards next week. So, and then we'll recap the Cowboys game against the Eagles. And then, you know, we're going to recap the college football, North Texas, any big games that we can come up with. We're going to recap it next week. All right, guys, thank you for listening and watching this podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast at. And this podcast is pre-recorded and is live now on Twitch, but it will be on audio tomorrow and video tomorrow as well. So what you see, what you hear will be all in video, audio tomorrow. Moving forward. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast at, and I'll see y'all next week. It's Beyond the Game on Fishbowl Radio.
Hey world, this is Jamie, host of the Jamie and Genthy Show, broadcasting live each week on Tuesday at 12 p.m. from Fishbowl Studios. Log on to hear sports talk from basketball to football and view your feedback from the biggest sports news you want to talk about from around the world. So be sure to log on each week Tuesdays at 12 p.m. to catch the Jamie and Genthy Show. Hope to see you soon
on Fishbowl Radio Network.
Jump in.